Hi guys, it's Rel Klein and you're watching a new making up movie idea on the spot. Yesterday it wasn't the greatest one, so we're gonna try again today. I mean, I'm doing this every day, so I was gonna do it anyway. If this is your first time watching one of these, all I do is basically pick one genre, one place, and 3 other items, and I have to come up with a movie idea on the spot, and I try to get as detailed as I can. I don't know what else to say, so let's get into it. Here are the genres. Let's see. I got action. That's like might be my favorite genre. Like action and romantic comedies are like really close. Like not closely related, like they're not like at all, but for my favorite genre they're very close. So the location, a lot of times in action movies the location does matter, so there is one of the choices in here that's all around the world, which would make total sense if I got that one, so we will see what would I get. I got Somewhere Cold. That gives me a lot of room. That does. Action movies. So action movies usually take place in more than one location, like the big action movies. So for the action movies I have come out with aren't, well, I don't know. I don't want to give it details, so 3 other items. Gotta do good. One. I swear if I get one of the ones I already got, I'm ready. So just put it in. Okay. Oh, that's 2. Okay, I have 3. I have maple syrup. I don't remember why I decided to choose that one. When I wrote it down, it just came to me because it could be endless items. Lust. And flowers. So the Lust and the Flowers would have been really great yesterday when I had the romance movie. But for action, okay. So this is giving me a big opening. But because of Lust, I do feel like there has to be some romance of some kind. I mean, you could lust for something. We're gonna pause on that. Let me try to think. Somewhere cold. So because I had maple syrup, I'm gonna go with Canada. So this takes place in Canada, or at least the beginning. So I've never been to Canada either, but I'm thinking Montreal, and I really can do anything here. I really can. When I think of action movies, I think about franchises like James Bond, Mission Impossible, Fast and Furious, John Wick, Kingsman. Those are like my favorites. And I mean, Jason Bourne's also there. So it's like, do they know they're an action? I feel like if I'm gonna give a movie idea, it has to be the first action movie. It can't be just like, oh, the third in a franchise. Now I'm gonna talk about the first one. But it's like, do I give the person, do they know they can fight at the beginning, or is it like they learn later on they can fight? So I'm seeing this guy outside in a cafe. Perhaps he's a veteran and he knows how to fight and has been in battles before. And I see all of a sudden there's some fight going down between these 2 people, and he steps in and he has this maple syrup on his table because maybe he was eating breakfast. And he takes the maple syrup and he splashes it on them and he fights them off and he saves the day, and everyone around them are applauding him and everything. And so he goes home that night, and his apartment, he's a bachelor, he's alone, he doesn't have any family, he doesn't have any kids. Outside his apartment is a woman standing there, and he's like, "Excuse me?" And the woman's like, "Hi, so-and-so," whatever his name is, doesn't matter in the story. "We have this special team, and we saw what you did today at the cafe. It was a test for you to see how you would react. And you reacted in the way that we expected you to. You reacted in the way we wanted you to. And now we want you to join our team." And of course, just as you expect him to be, he's like, "No, I'm good. I don't need that." So she's like, "Well, you'll think about us. You want us." It's like, okay, sure. So he goes into his apartment. You can tell it's small, it's old, there's nothing really happening. And the next day, he's outside a flower shop. And he sees these two people fighting again. And in his mind, he's like, this is probably a test again. I mean, he might even verbalize this, "Oh my god, this is a test." But then the people are still fighting, no one's helping them. So he's like, okay, I gotta step in. What if this is not a test? And so he takes the flowers around him and he somehow fights them off with the flowers, maybe knocks them out with the flowers, and ends the fight. People are applauding around him. I love how I already used maple syrup in the flowers. I have to use it in the story, so I used it. We're gonna get to the last. If you know where I'm going with this, you know. And so he goes back to his apartment again that night, and the woman's there again, and he's like, "It was a test." She was like, "It was a test again." Because it was a test again now, to know that he was looking out, knowing that it was a test, to see if he still react the same, because he still never knows it's going to be a test, and he still has that in him to see, I guess. And she's like, "We really need you." And he's like, "No." And he goes back inside the apartment. And so the next day, he's in a shoe store. And people start fighting again. And he's like, "This is a test again. But in case it isn't, I still have to do something." And so he is about to throw these shoes at him. He's very good at taking things around him and using them as weapons and using it for his use. But right before he's about to throw the shoes, a car flips over outside the shoe store. And he goes to the car. And he's like, "Is this a test?" And in the car is that woman that he's seen a couple times before outside his apartment. And she slipped over. She's like not doing well. Like the car slipped over. And she's telling him, "You have to go save and go stop that fight. Don't worry about me. Go stop that fight." And he's hesitant. He's like, "What? What are you saying? Like your car flipped over? Like it could explode. Like I think that's more important about your life." And she's like, "No, go to stop the fight in the shoe store." And so seems like he's about to go back to the fight in the shoe store, when all of a sudden he gets urgent. He pulls her out of the car and saves her, and then also throws his two shoes and knocks out the guys. But he first does save her from the car. And she's like, after he saves her and everyone's applauding, she says to him, "You passed the final test. you did it. And he says, I might as well go to where you want me to go because you're gonna keep sending me tests every day. And she's like, you're correct. So she takes him to this task force that works outside the FBI or the CSI or whatever things to stop people who are on a good path from going on a bad path. They search out people who don't already do bad things, but people who are about to do bad things, and they stop them and they change their lives and make it better before it goes bad. And he starts training and everything, and they want to see how he trains that way. He's like, okay, I'll do it. And they get to the part at the gun range, and he's like, I'm not shooting a gun. They're like, what, you're a veteran, like, you shot guns before? He's like, that's the whole point. I have this thing about guns. I don't like guns at all. And that's why when I'm fighting people, I use items around me that are not a weapon, but I use them in a way that they stop people without actually hurting people. And they're like, okay, you don't have to use a gun. You don't have to use a gun. They're still in Canada. I'm getting very detailed in this one because I love action films, so I can get very detailed. So they continue his training, and the woman takes him out on one of her cases. This is reminding me of that action film I recently saw, Wanted, where it was like that guy that Angelina Jolie was like the woman taking him places, but in this case I feel like the veteran's older than the woman, and it's different because they don't have these like weird fighting power whatever. That action movie was a little confusing to me, not gonna lie. They could like shoot around things. Okay, we're gonna get back to this one. So she takes him on a case, and they stop this guy from going to become a drug dealer. And I'm not gonna get into more specifics about it because I think I've gotten into so many specifics, but it's really inspiring to him and he really loves it. And maybe she takes him also on another case where they stop someone from going down the wrong path, and it's really amazing to him, and he's like, this is everything I ever wanted. But then they have this case to bust this guy who's already down the wrong path, and he's like, I thought this is not what you guys did. And they were like, we have to stop him because he keeps taking the people and putting them down the wrong path. So in this way, it's the same way, and he's like, okay. And they have this whole mission plan, him, her, and all these other people. And they get to the mission, and everything seems to be going right, but all of a sudden this girl appears at the mission, and they weren't expecting her, and it turns out later it's the guy's daughter, but and this woman's like in her 20s, not a little kid, but you know, he takes the veteran by surprise, and he's like, oh my god, this is a lust, and he lusts for her. And he's thrown off guard by her, like she's in his path, and so they battle a little bit, but he's like kind of on the low end in this fight because he wasn't expecting her, and he's so entranced by her beauty, and he seems to win the fight and get hold of her. But then he goes into the room where the big man is, and the big action thing is, and they use guns, and there's a gun fight, and he gets so triggered by it that he, you know, gets so entranced now in himself, and he's like, and that, you know, the daughter roams free, and they end up not catching this guy. He like gets away and stuff, and at the end they all come back together at their headquarters, whatever company thing, not company, but whatever program it is. And he says about the daughter, and the gun just threw him off, but he's gonna find the daughter. They're gonna fix it. They're gonna fix it. He does his research and he locates the daughter. And she comes to him and she's like, I don't like what my dad's doing either. I'll let you guys take him, but take him in alive. Like, I'll help you do that. But I just want him alive. Like, I don't want him dead. And the guns scare her too. And that makes him lust even more for him because now they have something common. So she helps them out. She comes to their headquarters and helps them out. And they set up another mission, but it seems like the other people are prepared. And when they realize, the guy realizes that his daughter double-crossed him, he shoots her. And the guy, our main guy, our lead, isn't sure how to react because he hates guns. But he saves her and gets her out of there, and as another shoot down happens, he's able to get the bullet out and save her life. She tells him that he has to stop working for this company, this special program, and that if he wants to take in her dad, he has to do it himself, or them as a team, without guns, and do it the right way. And so once they've recovered and everything, they go out, the two of them. But of course, the other team that he used to be on comes, and he has to first take them out before he goes and takes out her dad. And he has to fight them first, and he fights them all off using things around him because that's what he does. And then he fights all the other guys off and uses things around them and fights them in the way that no guns go off. And then he arrests her dad and saves the day, and he flees to a foreign country with the daughter. That's my idea for the action film. I definitely went in more detail than my other 3 days I've done this. I just love action films so much. I love like the fighting. So cool. I mean, I used the maple syrup and the flowers at the beginning, but it was used. And I did include that lust for the daughter, and maybe if there was no daughter, you know, the story would be so different. So that's why it's kind of the fact that lust was given to me, it was able to shape the story in a way. And I think I definitely gave this character multiple things to deal with because he is a veteran. And he has this thing about guns that I know a lot of veterans do, and how that, you know, brings weakness in his character, but how as a character he uses other things to overcome that, and he's still strong, but he still has this weakness that doesn't make, because in action films everything can't be so easy. They have to deal with problems. Everyone has their own demons, so I gave that. So I think this went really well. Sorry if my words are splurring all over the place or whatever. I'm a little sleep deprived. But I think overall it went well. I hope you guys liked that. Out of my 4 ideas that I've so far came up with, I think that one's the best. I wish today I was looking the best. But as I said, I'm a little sleep deprived, so I didn't put on makeup today, and all I did was brush my hair, but you could still tell it's not the greatest. So as always, you guys can comment down below other things you want me to add to the items list. Of course, only like a few people actually watch these videos, but you never know. And if you like this idea so far, the best, also comment that below. So thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Love you guys, and bye.